Hello, and welcome to the Sex, Love, and the Self podcast, brought to you by Make Yourself Magic and me, Jacqueline Lene. For those of you that are longtime listeners, this is going to be coming a little out of left field, so bear with me here. I wanted to create an episode of the podcast for newcomers to get a little taste of what we do here and why. So the reason I started the podcast is because I believe in our power, your power. I have come to believe that we are divine energy, and I believe that we connect to that divine energy by connecting to ourselves. And we connect to ourselves by building relationships with ourselves. Through self-love, we create magic in our worlds, in the world, by using our divine energy channeled through our personal realities. And we access that divine energy by self-love. Over the years, I discovered that I loved this work. I loved digging into the ways that I could empower myself in my own life through self-love. And I began to understand that my friends were coming to me for that same kind of advice. They wanted that same kind of empowerment. So that's exactly what I decided to explore here on the Sex, Love, and the Self podcast. Because one of the other things I came to understand is that I learn most profoundly through relationships. If life experiences are our great teachers, relationships are our tutors, and they're excellent lenses through which we can better see ourselves and our lives. I started the Make Yourself Magic sub-brand from a desire to share with people all these tools and wisdom that had been shared with me over the years because it had genuinely helped me change my life. Back in 2007, I was thrown from the back of a motorcycle into the side of a truck and then promptly run over by the rear tires. Almost all the bones on the left side of my body were broken, both lungs collapsed, and internal organs were damaged, like badly. Much of the flesh was shredded from my legs, and the artery that was severed left me a mangled mess bleeding out on the side of the road. I was airlifted to the nearest hospital, coded in the helicopter, and then again in the ER. And while I was in an induced coma, my family was informed that they had better say their goodbyes. Doctors believed that I had a 50% chance of surviving if they amputated both of my legs. Obviously, of course, I survived. And for a long time, I thought that would be the big story of my life. In fact, I wrote a book about it, in part as a healing effort, but also because I kind of believed at that time, I think I really deeply believed at that time, that sharing that story would be the thing that brought me the kind of exposure that would help me help others. But with the help of those wise and wonderful guides that supported me in healing my soul self, my deep self, I moved past just surviving and I began to thrive. I began to see myself for who I really am as a spiritual being. I began to honor my deepest desires. I began to change my mind and my life began to change too. I found my power. And so I wrote a second book about all of that, about connecting to that God force energy, about the ways that we can empower ourselves in our daily lives. And quick sidebar, if you're interested in those, they're both available on Amazon.com or on my website, jacqueline.blog. That's JACLYNLANAE.blog. I now live a life of luxury, adventure, and actual passion in South America. I live a life I love. And I have realized now, decades later, that surviving the accident was not the great story of my life. Neither was relearning to walk or my ability to keep my own legs. My love of myself and my life is my great success story. My joy is my legacy. My ability to manifest a life that I want to be living, a life I love living, is my great success story. And it came from my discovery of my personal power, my ability to connect with my personal power through self-love. So a couple of years ago, after a massively catastrophic failure in the primary relationship that I had in my life at the time, I began to realize how often in just the most benign moments of day-to-day life, I was reaching back and using those tools and resources, those ideas, those belief systems, those meditations, everything in my little, spiritual toolkit that I'd been given by these wise healers in my life to help me heal in this process. And not just heal, but again, deepen my connection to my power, my self-love. And as I did that work, I also began to notice all the little miracles that were happening in my life, the ways that I was becoming magic and manifesting the things that I needed now after the collapse of this relationship, as I was beginning a new chapter in my life to move forward. And it occurred to me that it's easy for us to sort of lose sight of that, lose sight of the way that the magic happens in our daily lives, lose sight of the power that we hold in ourselves, the way that we are manifesting in our daily lives without even realizing it. It was the accident all over again, except this time on an emotional level. And it made me realize that I wanted to share all of these little experiences with people, all of these day-to-day life inspirations, because that's the thing that was getting me through. That's the thing that we need, humans, I think, to be able to get through, is the regular reminders, the constant awareness of how we are in our lives, how we can take a moment, 15 minutes a week, to step back and look at what we have done, what we have created, what we have built, the successes we've had, the powers that we have, the places where we still have opportunities to grow. So in early 2023, I launched the podcast. And this is the place where I'm doing exactly that. I'm sharing the stories of my life, of my versions of the shared human experience, and exploring the endless ways that we can call in our personal power through self-love, the contexts in our lives in which we are invited to call in our power, to own our power. I want this community to be a place where you will be inspired to make minor little shifts in your energies and perspectives, little changes, and I mean little changes, just the tiniest tweak to a belief system can make major shifts in your own energies and then perspectives that will change your life, that will empower you to create and live the life of your dreams. I have to warn you, however, I get real here. I cuss, I get passionate, I go deep. I'm not a perfect human. I'm still healing, always. I'm still growing, always. I'm still discovering new ways to deepen my relationship with myself and channel my own power to create better relationships in my life, to create better circumstances in my life, to create more wealth and abundance and joy. I am a human that's finally beginning to understand the power I hold, the power we all hold, and practicing while learning how to use that to create magic in my life and the world. How to manifest, yes. How to heal old wounds and traumas, yes. How to improve relationships, absolutely. All with the ultimate goal of learning to create lives we love living. I want us all to be able to seize our power over ourselves and our lives, because I truly believe that empowered people who love themselves will help create a better world for all of us. I think when we can deeply love ourselves, we can deeply love and support each other better. We can start to dismantle the corrupt and oppressive belief systems and operating systems that have defined or obligated us to live in a certain way or to try to be a certain kind of person. And we can begin to explore and celebrate our personal freedom in the way that we live our lives and in the ways that we support each other. So if you want to join the community, hit that subscribe button and head on over to patreon.com/author Jacqueline Lene, where I share the deeper dives, the hows of this personal empowerment that I'm talking about, and the energy management that, for me, create magic. Here, I'm going to tell the stories that inspire me, the ways that I am shifting my perspectives and perceptions to help me change my life. And over on Patreon, I'm going to talk about how I do that, what actionable steps I take, what belief systems I dismantle and then rebuild in a new way in order to rebuild myself and my life to create that magic. Or head on over to my website at jacquelinelene.blog. There I've got the books that I wrote, the personal support programs that I've designed, workshops that I've created, and all kinds of other spiritual and personal empowerment tools that you can use to connect to your power through self-love and make yourself magic. That's jacquelinelene.blog, JACLYNLANAE. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you love the podcast. Ciao for now.